Welcome to the Noonans presentation for part 2 of the legendary Frank Goon collection, which we are selling in Singapore in March. In fact, at the Orchid Junior Ballroom, level 4 at Marina Bay Sands, same as last year. It doesn't seem that long ago we had part 1, which was great fun. I think very well received. It was a fantastic day. I don't think part 2 will be any different. There's some wonderful notes in part 2. And we'll be bringing the collection to Singapore, as I said, towards the end of March, and it should be great fun. There are a few highlights I think would be quite fun to bring to everybody's attention. Straight settlements, for example, probably the core of Frank's collection. And I think one particular note I'd like to bring to everybody's attention, there is a $100 of 1925, in itself a rare note, but interestingly the note we have in the sale is graded 50 by PMG. It is by far the highest grade of any Straits $100 of George V that has been seen to date, and I'm hoping and I'm confident this will produce some very, very exciting bidding, because it is a wonderful, wonderful note, and I think exemplifies exactly what Frank's collection is all about, a beautiful item. I think it also is important to note that the $100 has an EPQ designation, which is defined as exceptional paper quality by PMG. And I think this is very important to underline. To get an EPQ designation on any old Straits note is almost impossible. Paper in that part of the world didn't tend to last very well, deteriorated quite quickly. This note, I know I'm going on about it, is really a wonderful, wonderful note. An EPQ designation lifts it up into being one of the specials. There is one other Straits note. I mean, there are a lot of Straits notes in the auction, but one other I think I'd like to bring to everybody's attention. There is a specimen $1,000 of 1911. I don't need to tell you the $1,000 in 1911 in Singapore was a massive amount of money, so not a note you would see ever, probably. This came from the archives of De La Rue, the banknote printer, and probably the only source you're likely to find something like this. I remember when it was sold in auction many, many years ago, the excitement it generated. Frank was fortunate or bold enough, depending which way you look at it, to bid on it, and was a successful bidder, and is bringing this note to the auction again. $1,000 of 1911, a truly, truly remarkable and extraordinarily rare banknote. The Malaya section, again, lovely section, some unique hand-painted essays which are amongst my personal favourites in Frank's collection. But I think again a note that's worthy of mentioning, the George VI $100, the red, white and green note, which is in itself not a rare note. Frank has 3 examples, consecutive examples. These are exceptional banknotes. They are 2 of them, the highest grade ever recorded by PMG. And if you think of a note that's turned up in, I think, modest quantities for a high denomination note, to get the 2 highest graded notes on the PMG population report is a remarkable feat. And these notes, I think, will create a lot of excitement. A lot of people will have examples of this note. No one will have examples in this grade. Singapore, there are 4 unique items for Singapore. At about the time when Singapore split away from Malaysia, they were obviously thinking of producing a new currency for the new city-state of Singapore, and the idea mooted in the very beginning was to produce notes in ringgit. So you actually have some unique essays for Singapore with ringgit denominations on. This, of course, is remarkable because Singapore never issued the ringgit. They went on to the Singapore dollar. So it's quite likely at some stage somebody looked at these notes and all these essays, which were sent over by the printers De La Rue for approval, and a political decision, no doubt, was taken at that stage that maybe we should do it in dollars and not in ringgit. And these 4 notes represent an incredibly important period of history for Singapore and a momentous financial decision, and the notes are absolutely beautiful. So again, something worthy of note. Even if you're not going to bid on them, have a look at them because they are pieces of history. One other thing I'd like to point out, at the end of the auction we will be selling a few Hong Kong notes from Frank's collection. These are not obviously part of the British Malaya collection, but they are some of the rarest Hong Kong notes. There are very few of them, but the quality is wonderful. They are some of the rarest Hong Kong notes I've had the pleasure of seeing. One I'd like to particularly mention is there's a $500 specimen of 1895. $500 Hong Kong notes of the 19th century are all very, very rare. 1895 doesn't appear to exist anywhere. There's 1898, for example, but not 1895. Does this make a difference? Who knows? But it's a super, super rare banknote. So just to point out to our friends in Hong Kong and across the world, at the end of the auction there will be a few little jewels from the Hong Kong currency market. Thank you. Another one of my favourite notes in the auction is Sarawak. It's always hard to get anything from Sarawak in decent condition, especially the early notes. We have a $25 specimen, again an archival example. The note is gorgeous, very, very rare indeed, and would make a wonderful addition to anybody's collection. I think apart from the Sarawak, I think we should probably mention the banknotes of Borneo, the banknotes of Malaysia. There are, as in part one of Frank Goon's collection, some wonderful essays, all archival essays from the printer themselves. Beautiful examples. There's a lot of issued notes in the sale. So I think anyone who's interested in Singapore, Malaysia, Sarawak, Borneo, Straits, there's plenty to choose from. A cornucopia of banknote wishes. So all I can really say is I wish you luck. I hope we see you in Singapore as we did last time, and hopefully we'll need to get a few more chairs in the auction room. We were certainly full last time. I hope to be so again. Anyway, good luck to everybody. We'll see you in Singapore. Thank you.